My name's Carlo Villarica, and I'm one of the founders of Zerothreetwo, and I'm the host of Zerothreetwo Conversations, the podcast. This is my stock answer to that question. I did an interview with Boots Brandon, and then his interview was really fun because he has a really genuine story in a way that he literally started from nothing, and then he became one of the biggest tattoo artists in the Philippines. I think he's tattooing celebrities, that sort of thing. And then he started from zero. Like he said himself, in the podcast, he said he had a job one time. He was a jeepney conductor. So, and then he went through so much. He's a skater, and then there was an incident where there was a drive-by shooting, and his friend actually got shot beside him, and then how that affected him. And then we really talked all about that. And then these are things that I did not know about. Like I research about every guest that comes to the podcast, but I don't, you don't know all the stories until you talk to them. And he was very generous with his story. So he is the first one that comes to mind, really from just like a genuine, super generous with his story point of view. Another one that came to mind that was really fun, and then was Quartz Cortez. Quartz Cortez. Yeah, Quartz Cortez. He's another one that came to mind. In fact, I think when I interviewed him, that was the first time. I believe that was the first time I spoke to him, and then he was really fun because he's a historian, like that's his job. So we talked a lot about Cebu in the past, why Cebu doesn't have a Chinatown. And then if you look at like the number of downloads, for example, that one is like in the beginning, gamay ra ni download for that particular episode, but it had legs. Like I guess when people scroll the list of podcasts, murag, the title stands out, so they end up listening, and then it was a really good podcast. I learned a lot about like history and stuff. I don't know if I can come up with a third, but for sure, like there are upcoming guests that there's a notable upcoming guest that I find it notable because he's my first guest that you could say in some way he has like an empire. He has like so many businesses. I just interviewed Bunny Pajes. So that was fun. I'm hoping to do more entrepreneurs as well in the podcast. That'll probably come out, I don't know when this is coming up. It'll probably come out in like 2 or 3 weeks. So I really enjoyed that one. So if you want to get into podcasts, it's actually really easy to do. You just get you can really literally just get your phone in a quiet room and then just have a conversation with another person and record it. Back when I was first thinking about doing a podcast, years and years ago, my wife and I, she was my girlfriend at the time, we would be in the car stuck in traffic and we'd be talking. It'd be fun to do a podcast, and as a joke, I was like, oh, let's do a podcast right now. So I turned on the phone, and then I think it was like super corny. I think it was called like when a boy meets a girl or something like that, and then we would just talk. And believe it or not, we did it like 2 or 3 times. Put it up on SoundCloud, and then it's a podcast. I mean, it was really, really bad, but yeah, it's easy. You just get a recording device, and then you just find a quiet room and just do it. Your phones are good enough. That's just to get your foot in the door. And then you can search online for all of the things that if you're really interested in it, there's lists online on the right equipment to get, on what audio editors you should use that's easy for you, so it's not too complicated. What service to use to aggregate your podcast. I use Libsyn. But more importantly, if you're going to interview people, I feel like interviewing is an art. So it's an art in a way. So you should, if there are ways for you to learn about interviewing, then that helps too. No? Yeah, good interviews, good interviewers, you know, there's a lot. So you can just, like a lot of my interviewing style, I patterned with like other podcasters also. So yeah, so there's a lot to learn from, but to start, super easy. The podcast, 032 Conversations, you can find it anywhere you can find podcasts, whether it's your podcast app on your iPhone or Google Podcasts or Spotify. If you just search 032 Conversations. Also, you can go to zerothreetwo.com. That's 032 in letters. So you can find the podcast there. My personal social media is at Sober Musings. So really just, you know, my life stuff, cycling, my two baby boys, my wife. And yeah, my name is Carlo Villarica and you're watching In Your Element.